This lesson covers some advanced DNS configuration and troubleshooting. We can have multiple DNS zones on a DNS server, and throughout your organization you may have many different DNS servers for many different DNS zones. And as part of your client configuration, you can actually configure the default DNS suffixes. So this enables them to type in, for example, a single label name such as www, and it will automatically append all of the suffixes in the configuration. By default, it's just going to use the one that its Active Directory membership is, for example, saviltech.net. So this enables me, for example, to just type in nslookup www, and it automatically adds saviltech.net to the end and it finds a match. Now suppose I have 50 different DNS zones in my environment. Very complicated AD structure, very complicated naming, and that becomes very difficult now to add all those different suffixes to every single client in my environment. But I want the users to be able to type in single label names just for certain types of resource, and I don't want to have to populate those in every zone and do all those DNS suffixes. In the past for single label, you would have used maybe WINS or broadcasting, but WINS has really been phased out in today's networks. And so what Microsoft added as part of Windows Server 2008 was a global name zone. And this enables you to actually create alias records pointing to other servers, for example, that you just type in a single label like web internal, and it will resolve no matter which suffix configuration those clients have. So for example, I go back and I do nslookup web internal, it works. And that would work no matter which DNS suffix configuration I had, because it's found in this global names. Now to enable this is actually very simple. You run a DNS CMD, the name of your server, config, enable global name support, and then set that value to 1. So you just enter this command. I've already configured this in the past. You then will create a new zone in the forward lookup, and for the properties you're going to say it's AD integrated. You want to make sure you change it to be all DNS servers running on domain controllers in the entire forest, not the default of the domain. And also you want to turn off dynamic updates. No one's ever going to dynamically update these records. And in here now you can put those records that need to always be able to be resolved no matter which suffix configuration those clients have. This is a very useful feature. Now moving beyond global names, in terms of troubleshooting your DNS server, Server Manager is generally going to be your first point of call. It's going to show you your DNS servers. It's going to show you any events related to DNS. Are your services running? Your best practice analyzer configuration, performance metrics. So this is a great first place to go. Also, I can go directly to the event viewer. So I can look at my Windows logs, I can look at my applications, and there's DNS server. And notice all I have is healthy, good information. But earlier on, there were some issues relating to synchronization, and I had errors. This was a few days ago, but there were troubles in some of my configurations. This is a good place to go and say, hey, what were the errors in my environment? And then actually go and troubleshoot and fix those. Now, what is logged in the event viewer entirely depends on your server configuration. So in properties, I can go to event logging. So I've got configured all events. But you may want to change this, for example, to just show me errors, or maybe errors and warnings only, or nothing. I'd never advise the nothing. You always want to at least capture the errors and warnings. I can also do some monitoring, so I can actually do tests here. So I can say, we'll perform a quick query against this DNS server. It said it passed. I can say, we'll do a recursive query. So that passed as well. I can ask it to automatically perform a test periodically. So maybe once a minute, once an hour, every second would be a bit much. And it would actually go and perform those tests for me and log those to make sure it's functioning. I can do more advanced debugging. So I'm going to turn that off. I can actually log packets. So at this point now, it's going to log the UDP and TCP protocol for outgoing and incoming queries, updates, request response into a file that I specify down here. Now you don't want to leave this on by default. This is going to be used if you have a problem in the environment and you really need to dig deep into what is going on. But certainly understand that option is here if you need very deep monitoring of your DNS. You could also use NetMonitor. So remember, we've used that in other lessons. I could use Netmon to actually trace the DNS traffic as well. So I do have other options on how I can think about monitoring the environment. This concludes the lesson on the Advanced DNS configuration and troubleshooting.